Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking those highly technical, jargon-filled cybersecurity manuals and, well, tossing them right out the window. We're going to look at this through literally the only lens that actually matters for your business, the bottom line. No complex acronyms here. We're translating very real threats into clear, actionable strategies. Because whether you're running a nimble, high-growth startup or a massive legacy enterprise, understanding this stuff, it's no longer optional. It's absolutely foundational to your survival and your growth.
Okay, let's dive right into the sheer massive scale of this threat. According to Interpol, we're way past the days of isolated hackers and hoodies hiding in basements. The shadow economy of cybercrime is so unbelievably vast right now, its yearly financial impact literally rivals the gross domestic product of major economies like the UK or Germany. Just let that sink in for a second. We're talking about entire nations' worth of wealth being siphoned off globally, and with costs projected to double soon, fueling even more criminal innovation, we are up against a highly lucrative, highly sophisticated global industry. So here's our quick roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with the modern cyber threat, look at why every business is targeted, break down the true business cost, dive into proactive defense and frameworks, and wrap up with audits, testing, and training. Let's get into it. Section 1. The modern cyber threat and evolving digital risks. Before we can build up those defenses, we really need to establish what exactly we're fighting here. To start us off, let's look at this definition from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST. They define cybersecurity as the process of protecting information by preventing, detecting, and responding to attacks. And honestly, the absolute most crucial word in that whole sentence is process. Cybersecurity is not some static brick wall. It's not a piece of software you just buy, install, and forget about. If you treat it like a wall, the exact second a new threat pops up, that wall is totally obsolete. Instead, think of true security as a dynamic, continuous loop of constant vigilance and rapid adaptation. Moving on to Section 2, why every business is targeted. You know, a lot of leaders assume their company is just too small, or maybe their data is too boring to steal. But trust me, criminals absolutely do not discriminate. And Interpol hits the nail right on the head here. They point out that the human element remains the most common vulnerability. Even with all these highly sophisticated technical threats out there, the vast majority of breaches come down to some form of basic human interaction. We're all susceptible to manipulation, right? Criminals are using automated tools to cast this massive, incredibly wide net across the globe, just actively waiting for one single employee to make one simple mistake. If you're not super technical, it really helps to think of these 4 common threat categories in physical terms. So, phishing, that's basically tricking your front desk clerk into voluntarily handing over the master keys to your building. Ransomware is like a criminal sneaking in, changing your storefront locks, and demanding a huge cash payout just to let you back inside to do business. Malware acts exactly like a contagious physical virus, rapidly spreading through the office and breaking equipment along the way. And insider threats? Well, that could be an angry ex-employee wanting revenge, sure. But honestly, it's just as often a perfectly well-meaning team member who accidentally leaves a digital backdoor propped wide open. All right, Section 3, the true business cost, or looking beyond the IT headache. The crucial takeaway here is understanding exactly how a breach hits your balance sheet. Make no mistake, a breach isn't just an IT problem. It is a catastrophic business event. NIST emphasizes that while direct costs, heavy regulatory fines, immediate ransoms, emergency remediation, while those definitely sting right away, the indirect costs are almost always so much worse. Why? Because they act as a permanent drain on your resources. Cyber risks severely cripple your organization's ability to innovate, they compromise your supply chain, cause massive and lasting brand damage, and absolutely shatter hard-earned customer trust. A fine is a painful one-time hit, but losing trust? That translates to a permanent loss of revenue that takes years and millions of dollars to rebuild. Which brings us to Section 4, proactive defense and frameworks, building your cyber immunity. The really good news is you absolutely do not have to sit around waiting to become a victim. Think of this as your actionable playbook. These are the 5 core functions of the NIST cybersecurity framework, and we need to walk through them deliberately. First, identify. You gotta know exactly what laptops, servers, and data you actually own and where your biggest risks lie. Next, protect. building safeguards for those specific assets. But hey, no shield in the world is perfect, right? So you need active systems to detect an attack while it's in progress. Then you need a clear, practiced plan to respond immediately and contain the fallout. And finally, recover, the protocols to get your operations back up and running fast. It's a continuous, living cycle of building up digital antibodies. And a really healthy digital posture requires seamlessly integrating your cybersecurity directly with your core IT infrastructure. End-to-end protection, robust security assessments, and strict governance need to wrap around literally everything your company does. We're talking from your complex network architecture all the way down to basic tech support. Security just cannot operate in a silo anymore. It has to be the rock-solid foundation of your entire technological ecosystem. Here's a super practical tip drawn straight from recent IBM research. Let modern technology do the heavy lifting for you. Leveraging AI, autonomous security, and modern authentication methods like passkeys, which use your device's biometrics like a fingerprint or face scan instead of a traditional typed-out password, can massively reduce the risk of credential abuse. Best of all, it seriously fortifies your identity security without totally burning out your IT team, who, let's face it, are probably already understaffed. Finally, Section 5, audits, testing, and training. Think of this as routine health checkups for your infrastructure. You wouldn't drive a car for years without a mechanical inspection, and you definitely shouldn't run a business network without one either. These proactive measures are basically vital stress tests for your whole organization. Vulnerability assessments and penetration testing, or VAPT, literally means hiring ethical hackers, the good guys, to try and break into your systems before the bad guys do. Techniques like risk mapping and simulated red team attacks expose the actual physical, organizational, and technical flaws in your armor so you can patch them safely. And then there's OSINT, open source intelligence, which lets you see exactly what sensitive info about your company is already just floating around out there freely on the public web. But remember what Interpol told us earlier? Humans are almost always the weakest link. So, testing the human element is just as critical as testing the software. That means running regular, unannounced phishing resistance tests on your staff. It means doing social engineering audits, like actually having someone call your front desk pretending to be IT to see if an employee will just hand over a password over the phone. And it means regular crisis simulations. As IBM notes, effective crisis response requires your team to have clear roles defined and rehearsed long before a breach ever occurs. Your staff should be your strongest line of defense, not your greatest liability.
When you piece all of this together, cybersecurity makes a radical shift. It goes from being this annoying IT cost center into a massive strategic business advantage. Proactive security effectively flattens out your risk map. It actively lowers those costly cyber insurance premiums and keeps you compliant so you avoid heavy regulatory fines. But most importantly, it acts as a powerful brand differentiator. In a world where data breaches are front-page news every single day, being able to actively prove you are a secure partner is often a strict requirement just to win a contract today. It genuinely accelerates your business growth.
So I want to leave you with this critical question to ask yourself and your executive team. Are you just waiting around to simply respond to a breach? Or are you actively preparing to prevent one? In a reality where cybercrime represents a shadow economy rivaling major global nations, I highly encourage you to make sure your organization's immune system is truly ready for tomorrow's threats. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay secure out there.